about how I can get better at doing books, getting prepared for tax season, and then also looking at the new things that are coming on board with IRS taxes and where the taxes are going to go. So excited for the show today, guys. Welcome everybody to the show. I'm your host Kyle Miller, and I'm here to show you, to experience different business owners from around Charlottesville, to get into their world, to get into their minds, to get into their businesses, and see how they're changing lives for people in our community and making it better for everyone around. So, with today's guest, I'm excited to bring on, she is owner of Accounting Solutions, PLLC, right? And it's Devi Gardia. Say it again. Sorry, I apologize.
It's Devi Goradia.
Goradia. I apologize. So, Devi, thank you for coming on the show. I apologize. I just screwed up the name. I practiced it a couple times before we even went live, and I still get it wrong. So I apologize. Okay. Taxes. That is like the arch nemesis of everybody in the world, right? Nobody wants to pay taxes. It's a scary word. IRS is a scary word, right? But you've been dealing with them for 30 years, and you are still here, still standing. What's the key?
Well, you have to know what you are doing, and you have to like what you are doing. So that's what my motto is, that I like what I do. I like to do the taxes. The tax returns, and I do 400 plus tax returns every year. That includes business, personal, trust, partnership, corporations, any and all kind of tax returns that I prepare. So it's been a while.
Wow.
I love what I do.
That is awesome. So you've been dealing with the IRS for quite a while. You worked for another company for a little bit, and then you decided to start your own business, and you've owned that for 25 years now, right? And I think that's astonishing because most businesses fail within the first 5, right? 90% of businesses are out of business in the first 2 years. And so I think that's a very, applaudable trait that you just, you have the grit and drive to keep going and create that business. You help a lot of other business owners too, with the bookkeeping, with the accounting. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in this, where you're from, and how it's progressed to where you are now?
Well, originally I'm from India. I was born and brought up in India, and I followed my husband to this country and came to Charlottesville about 40 years ago. Oh, wow. And stayed and made this as a home, and started my own business in 98. And I started going into accounting at Piedmont. When I went for the counselor's service, they told me that I could not speak English when I came to this country. Okay. So they said the numbers are your best friends. You should deal with the numbers. And that's how I got into accounting, basically.
Gotcha. So numbers is a universal thing,
right? Right.
And so they're like, you're not great with English. Why don't you stick with the numbers, and you can make the numbers work, and then your English just grew from that?
I'm still learning. It's not an easy language to learn.
Yeah, me too. I still say things that aren't right every day. I find that pretty cool. What I also do is, like, being an immigrant to the country, right? Coming in and then creating something that's a business. You remind me of my friend. His name's Luis, and he came from Brazil to the United States. He only had I think he said 50 cents in his pocket when he came to the States, and now he's retired now, but he had built up an auto body repair shop up in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland area, and came out, and now he lives out in the country. He's got a couple hundred acres of land, and he lives out on a farm. And it's cool talking to him and hearing the stories. But the grit and the amount of obstacles that you have to overcome. You know, you come here and you don't know English, and now you've built a company that's lasted 25 years, and you have hundreds of clients. I mean, it just shows the determination of like, hey, if you set your mind to it and you keep persevering, like you can make anything happen.
Yes, it's true. And I have good support from my family and my friends and this community.
Yeah.
My employees are good. They are helping me out a lot. And it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
It's the whole teamwork that you don't see. They are working behind the scene.
Right.
Basically.
And nobody gets to, you know, building stuff without the support.
Right.
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 That's key. So you started your business. We were talking earlier. You started it kind of in the house, right? You still had small children at home, and you were working and doing that. And then you decided to, okay, I need to grow it a little bit. And that was once the kids left, right?
Yes.
So now we get the office, and now we're growing into the office. How was that? What were the feelings? Do you remember?
It was nervous, very much nervous. I was because of overhead, like I mentioned before, that.
Yeah.
Overhead increases, it means I have to go out and find more clients.
Right.
And I never was in a marketing field before or sales field before that I can go out and sell my services and say, okay, I can help you out.
Right.
So that was very nerve-breaking, but learned as I went along. And
right. But you keep learning, you keep growing, your English gets better,
Yes.
everything. I just find it awesome. So you've started to build this company up. You know, you've gotten into your office. You're growing. You're getting more clients. You're bringing on employees. What do you find? What do you find joy in with the business through that growth and where you are today?
Help out the small businesses.
Yeah.
And especially startup businesses.
Okay.
They are always struggling, and we all do that, and we are counting pennies. And
right.
At the same time, like we talked before, that in first 2 years, the new businesses, if they make it first 2-3 years, they are going to make it. Otherwise,
right.
They are going to fold. So helping them out to go through that initial stage.
And you can almost be like a confidant because, hey, I've seen your business before. Maybe
Yes.
Could you maybe like, hey, maybe you want to add a little bit more to marketing, or maybe you want to do this because, I mean, you literally have inside scoops on all these businesses, different types of businesses. Now they're all different, but they all have the same thing, you know, what your gross profit, your expenses, and what's your net profit, right? And what
right.
And in those expenses, there's some of them have marketing budgets and some of them don't, and you can probably see the correlation between marketing and revenue, right?
Right.
And so if you're able to see like a business without any marketing or without anything, and maybe they have enough cash to kind of say, hey, maybe you might want to start doing this if you really want to grow. When you bring on clients, do you kind of go through with them and say, hey, could you kind of give me an example? Like, do you set goals, or do you ask the clients what their goals are, or how does that whole transaction,
Well,
happen?
when new clients come aboard, and once we agree that, okay, we are going to work together, then my very first thing is how you are keeping your records.
Okay.
Where you want to, what your plans are for next 5 years or next 3 years.
Okay.
How much sales you want to grow that, how much sales you want to come to. So those things are, I talk to them, I'm talk to them and set up a kind of a budget for them.
Right.
And a business plan for them, that this is what you want to spend on your, depending how much cash they have it available, that's the first thing.
Right.
And we go from there and say, okay, how much you want to spend on the marketing, and how much you want to spend on the your other overhead expenses you have. So we go that detailed expenses there to figure out. So we work backwards, basically. It says, okay, you want to spend $500 in marketing and $200 in overhead.
Right.
It means you need to have at least $1,200 to $1,500 in your revenue to make it work.
Right.
So we work backwards to figure out how much sales that she should have.
Gotcha.
She or he should have, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so because as a business owner, there's so many, and I implore everybody to do this. As a business owner, there's so many hats that we have to wear, right?
Yes.
We're not just somebody who, has heavy equipment operation, right? They just don't dig holes and do driveways and, do grading and that kind of stuff for houses, dig footers. They have to do that. They have to manage people. They have to manage the IRS and all the tax implications that go on that. They have to manage the codes that need to go in or what needs to happen for this to work and to make sure everything's satisfied. There's so many things, and it's a lot for one person, right?
Right.
So I would hire you as somebody that can help me take off my weight. When you hire companies like yours, right? Inevitably, you're hiring basically another employee, but that employee is or partner. I shouldn't say employee, a partner to help you with the stuff that you need to get done. That's really how everybody should be looking at bookkeepers and accountants and stuff like that, right? They're your partner, and if you can find a good one that provides the information that you just did, you can go through. Hey, listen, you can't just have $500 worth or $700 worth of sales because, well, you got your $500 in marketing, then you got $200 in expenses for employees, but then you also have off that $700, you have to pay taxes off of that. So now we're in the negative, right? So now we really need to look at this and see what we really need to have and maybe help us in our pricing and all of that stuff, because I think as small business owners, we don't really do that. We go, okay, well, I think we can do this, but we really getting in and know how much the things cost and how much it's going to work is like game changers. And if you have somebody that does it like yourself every single day, man, you can provide some guidance. You can, hey, this is what I see successful businesses do, and this is the profit margins that they're making. And this, so maybe your 7% profit margin is a little low. Maybe we get it up to 14. Maybe we get it up to 18. Something like that. So I just love it, right? I
always advise clients that you do what you are good at it and outsource the other stuff that you are not good at it.
Absolutely.
Everyone can do bookkeeping. Everyone can do marketing. I can do my own website if I want to.
Right.
But I want to time management. That's where I want to spend my time what I'm good at it.
Exactly.
And let the marketing guy do the marketing.
Let the marketing guy do the marketing. Let the accountant do the accounting.
Right.
Right. And let the operator do the operating.
Right.
And I heard this quote last year, and I've really implemented it into my businesses. Is that as the CEO of the business, right? We're not creators of all this stuff. We're the managers.
Managers,
right?
Right.
We tell this person to go do that. They create, go do the work. They do that, and then we're just making sure that it got done, right? And so it really, instead of taking everything that I have to do, it changes the question into who can help me,
right?
Who can help me do this? Who can help me accomplish this? Who can do this? Right. And that's the question we really need to be asking, guys, is who can help us in our business to help grow it? And having a good accountant is part of the team that needs to be,
Right. And any business doesn't matter. A business model should have an accountant, a marketing person, and actual people who are producing the business product.
Right.
So those things has to be there. Right?
And in the very beginning, you may not have the cash to do everything, but I would say you got to have your books in order first before you go out. You might be the marketer and you might be the doer, right?
Right.
In the beginning, you might have to wear both those hats, but as you grow, you really want to have the accountant in there saying, hey, well, this is what you have available, and this is what you can do, and this is what you can spend, and go from that. And tax planning. What are some of the common issues that you see with small businesses getting into tax issues? What's like, What do you see?
Not having good record keeping.
Not having good
Good
record keeping.
yes.
And why do business owners not have good record keeping?
Well, as I said, they don't delegate it.
Right.
They don't outsource it, or they don't hire somebody
Right.
who can keep their books clean and neat.
Yeah.
And just go by looking at it, he should be able to tell that whether he made money or not.
Right.
Some small businesses think as long as they have cash in their bank account, they are making money.
Right.
But it's not true, because there are other costs that comes afterwards, and that time they don't have that cash available.
Right.
So
Exactly.
having a good bookkeeping, record keeping, is the main function that a business owner should look into it.
It's and I can't stress this enough. There's so many businesses out there that aren't doing this, and
Right.
they're probably stressed.
Right.
They probably go, oh, I got cash today, but no cash next month, right?
Right.
And so it's the ebb and flow. They can't necessarily take a draw if they're an S corp, and some of them aren't putting themselves on salary from their own company, and they're just pulling it out of the account,
Yes.
like their personal piggy bank, right?
Right.
And they go, oh, well, the client gave me $10,000 for a deposit, so I got 10 grand in the bank, and I'm gonna go buy this, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. And all that stuff comes back, and if you don't have the right planning
Right,
and record keeping,
right.
then it turns into a real
Right,
hassle
yeah,
and pain.
right. And the thing is, taxes are always going to be there.
Right.
So sometimes clients forget about it, and then the tax bill comes, and they cannot afford to pay that.
Right.
Then there is a penalty and interest that keeps accruing.
Right.
So it's like digging a hole for yourself,
Yep.
basically. Yes.
What with the tax planning, what are some of the things that a business owner could do throughout the year to make sure that they're set up? Are there certain things that we can do? Because I know as a small business owner, I'm running around, I got this, I got that, I got this. But in reality, we really should be setting like some time, maybe a quarter. What do you suggest?
Yeah, you should. One thing, as we've been talking from beginning, that record keeping is the must. And once you look at the reports, you would know that you have to pay the taxes. So either you pay estimated taxes on a quarterly basis,
Yeah.
to avoid the penalty and interest,
Right.
or go to and talk to some accountant, somebody like me, to see how you can save the taxes,
Right.
and pay the estimated taxes accordingly. But
Right.
just don't ignore it. Just don't think that you are not going to owe any taxes.
What are some of the things that business owners can do to reduce those taxes?
What kind of business entity type you set up, that makes a big difference on the tax liabilities. So sole proprietor pays the most
Right.
most taxes, depending, of course, on their income. But the S corporation is the one that pays the least taxes. So depending where your income level is, net income level is, you want to make sure you pick the right entity type.
So
Because-
if you could give us, and I know this is specific to each business, right?
Right.
If you could give me like at what point does a sole proprietor, because that's somebody who's just kind of gone out and started their business, and maybe they're more of a tradesman, right? And can make that happen. And I'm in construction, so I see it a lot in the construction aspect side of things. I know there's sole proprietors in other situations. I just use construction because I'm in it a lot. At what level do you think, or if there's like a blanket or a range of where we should change from sole proprietor to maybe an S corp? And this is a question that I always wonder because of Warren Buffett's. The way he set up his entity, right? And I think he's more of a corporation, right? Versus the LLC and the different deductions and depreciations that you can take in an LLC versus in a corporation. So could you tell me like at what kind of levels that you look at to like jump or?
So first thing, LLC is a legal status of the business. It has nothing to do with what kind of taxes you pay.
Okay.
Or what kind of entity you are for the tax purpose.
Okay.
LLC is a legal purpose. It's a legal entity.
Okay.
Basically. So once you set up an LLC, you don't have to look at it. You just every year you pay the renewal fee, and that should take care of it. But for the tax purpose, either you are a sole proprietor, S corporation, partnership, or corporation. Those four entity type. Depending at like your question is at what point you should convert into S corporation.
Right.
Now, S corporation comes with some baggage also, so it's not just straightforward. So there are some paperwork every quarter you are required to do it. It means you have to hire somebody to do that. So there is a cost involved every quarter that nobody's going to work for you for free. So there is going to be some cost that comes with it.
Right.
But the tax savings is significant. So that cost of the accountant, quarterly cost of the accountant, is worthwhile.
Right.
Depending on how much accountant charges you, accordingly you want to think about converting on S corporation, because at some point you are paying, being a self-employed sole proprietor, you are paying self-employment tax, and that can be reduced for being an S corporation. That's the benefit of an S corporation.
Because that's that sole proprietorship, right? And how much is those? What's the percentage of the taxes for that?
So for regular income tax, depending on all other family income, whatever tax bracket they come in, and plus the sole proprietor income, you pay about 15.3% self-employment tax.
Right. As the sole proprietorship.
Yeah, which you get some discounts. It comes out to be 13.8 something.
Okay.
And then half of that you can deduct as an expense. So there are some calculation that goes into it. It's not, but in general, it's 15.3% self-employment tax.
Right,
yes.
right. Without getting in the weeds of
Right,
every little,
right.
And then when you go to the S corp,
Right.
you lose that.
You don't lose completely, depending again on the accountant. And when I work with my clients, I look at the whole picture. I always ask for the previous year's tax return to see what kind of family income they have, total income they have with the spouse and children, or maybe investment income and all that.
Yep.
And from that, I kind of estimate how much taxes they have to pay. And depending on their business income, we decide that whether this much income you want to pay it or not. You are saying at what percentage the self-employment tax comes? It depends on the other income. So sometimes it comes to 6%, sometimes it's 5%. So I would say it's between 5 to 8% or 9%.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
instead of 15.3%.
Then you get into the partnerships, right?
Right.
That's when you have somebody else, and it doesn't necessarily have to be 50-50 partners, right?
No.
15,
Right.
85,
Right.
that type of stuff. And then you get into the corporations. What's the difference? Because Warren Buffett's made a comment, and it's always stuck with me, that he pays less taxes than what his secretary pays, right? And he's arguably, depending on what given day, he's in the top 5 richest men in the world. What are some of the deductions? At what point do you go to a corporation, or at what point would be beneficial to turn into a corporation?
For small businesses or mid-sized businesses, C corporation is not that beneficial.
And when we say small businesses, we're talking about how much revenue are we talking about?
About $1 million.
$1 million? Okay.
More $1 million to even with the $2 million. I won't worry about the C corporation.
Okay.
Because C corporation, one thing is being an owner. In S corporation, money movement is easier. As an owner, you can withdraw the money, or you can put the money back in the business. If you are running low in cash in your business account,
Right.
you can invest back into the business and then pull it out.
Okay.
So it's easier than C corporation. And
Gotcha.
again, the the record keeping requirements is much tougher under C corporation than S corporation.
Okay.
So you have to have your stocks recorded with the SEC, and you have to have an S corporation also. You are required to do this, but if you are a sole owner, you don't have to have annual meeting. You don't have to have monthly meeting if you are a sole owner.
Got it.
So in C corporation, the whole different requirements are there. So you want to look into that and see whether it's worthwhile the C corporation or not. Most likely, and you are paying higher tax bracket taxes also in
Okay.
C corporation, depending of course on your income level, but you end up paying higher tax bracket.
Okay.
You will be in a higher tax bracket.
Interesting. So this is the type of stuff, as small business owners, we have to use accountants. We have to talk to people that know what's going on in that world, right? And do you see taxes ever going down? Because it doesn't feel like taxes go down.
It's never going to go down.
Yeah. It just seems like it's each, same thing with property taxes.
Right.
This is the game they play with property taxes. Well, my property taxes are, let's call it 90 cents, right? 90 cents on 100. So my property taxes are 90 cents, and a house is assessed for, let's say 500 grand, okay? And then my house will go up, boom, boom, boom. They won't raise taxes, but my house value will go up, right? So they're getting more money.
Right.
But then they'll go, well, we haven't raised taxes in 5 years or 6 years, property taxes. And then they'll go, well, we need a new assessment. And then they'll boom. And then they'll boom, boom, boom. And then boom. And that's the game they play. It's never going down. And it's just small incrementals. And as, inflation hits and as everything else hits, it just makes it more expensive.
It's the same thing in 2017 when the new tax laws came in. They say, we are going to increase the standard deduction to $12,000 and $18,000 and all
Right.
that, but they get away with the exemptions. So individual exemptions are not there anymore. So average family of 4 are losing money by not having that exemptions.
So what they all say on TV is just complete BS? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I do not want to say that. Once you start looking at the tax returns, so many tax returns,
Right.
you can see the difference that average family is losing money for having a higher standard deduction and not having the exemptions.
Right.
Because when you have a higher standard deduction, you don't need to itemize it. But so you don't itemize it, so you don't get to deduct the interest and real estate taxes and all that.
Right.
And but at the same time, you don't get to deduct the exemption also. So
Right.
it's a lose-lose, basically.
So for somebody who doesn't own a business, for somebody who's maybe an employee
Right.
is there anything that they can do to reduce taxes?
Unfortunately, no, there aren't that many deduction that is allowed for being a W-2 employees, basically.
Right.
But the only thing is teachers get to deduct $250 to $300 as a supplies deduction.
Okay.
Or any kind of teachers can deduct those.
Gotcha.
But other than that, there is not much deduction that they can use.
So what you're saying is basically the tax code, if you want to pay less in taxes, own a business. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it comes with the responsibilities
benefit.
also.
It
yeah,
does. It
comes
does.
with-
You have to
it's
weigh out
lot
the
of-
options.
yeah,
Not
yes.
everybody wants to be a business owner.
Right. It's
No.
it's a lot of pressure, a lot of tension. Yes.
Obviously you know exactly what you're talking about, and it's pretty cool. And this, you could probably talk about this for as long as the day is, right? And it's interesting how, you have your state taxes, then you have your federal taxes, and then you have property taxes, all the taxes that we have. You're able to help people guide through that, make it to where those business owners are paying less in taxes, and improving their life, helping their life, making sure their books are in order. What are some scenarios that you've experienced with business owners that have that you've been able to help? Maybe they've come in with some like bad books or something, and you've seen them stressed, and they've got more gray hair this year than they've ever have because they have all this stuff going on, and maybe it's been a really good year, but they have no idea how much money they've made. I'm sure you run into that quite often.
Yes, all the time. Yes,
And
all the time.
Can you give us any stories of like how you've
One time one lady came who used to own a business for the printing business, small in-house in the basement, had a printer, and she every week she would take $1,000 as a salary and send her employees' hours and herself fax it to the payroll company to process the payroll.
Right.
One time she did not put the decimal point, or maybe the person did not read the decimal point, so she got paid $10,000 instead of $1,000 a week. Every week $1,000, and 1 week she got paid $10,000, which she did not have in her bank account.
Right.
So all the checks were bounced back, and bank fees, and she came to my office crying. Somebody gave her my name, and came to my office crying, and I said, there's nothing we can do going backwards, but at least now you know that what was the mistake.
Right.
So this is how you correct it.
Yeah.
So there is always somebody who has some kind of issues, and especially with the IRS. There are a lot of people who has IRS debt, and there are a lot of advertise, I'm sure you watch on TV, that we can reduce your debt,
Right.
all that stuff, but that there are a lot of loopholes, that lot of red tapes that you have to jump through to go to get those kind of reduce your debt with the IRS. And we do offer in compromise. That's what they call it, offer in compromise. And we work with the IRS and with the client and help them to reduce the debt.
You basically just negotiate a settlement then?
Right. We do
Okay.
negotiate the settlement. We represent the client in front of the IRS.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So there's a lot of people with that issue.
Right.
So if you guys have any issues with the IRS, maybe you owe money to the IRS,
Right.
come to you, talk to it, and see if you can work out a deal.
Right. You are welcome to come to my office. Company name is Accounting Solutions. You can always Google that and find us our website and contact us. And first visit is always free. We never charge you for the first appointment.
Okay.
And we go over the pricing, we go over the issues, and if there is if we are going to work together, we have to ask some advance, but you know where we are located, where we work.
Yeah.
We are not going to disappear like you see some online people,
Right.
especially when we had employee retention credit.
Yeah.
A lot of small businesses went online to deal with to get that money, and now they are being audited,
Yeah.
and those companies are not there anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
they are going through a rough time right now.
How many businesses do you know that's happened to?
For
the-
employee
yeah,
retention
yeah.
credit? Oh, I know it of my own clients who went online to do it, because I would charge for it.
Right.
And of course, my fees could be higher than the online people, but
Right.
they falsified the quarterly reports, and that's how they got the money.
That's where they were doing?
That's,
They were
yeah.
falsifying the
And they did
quarterly
not
reports?
qualify to file for employee retention credit.
Oh, wow.
But they falsified the reports, and now the client has $90-some thousand tax bill.
Right.
And now I'm resolving that. Now I'm dealing with that to try to figure out that how we can resolve this and not to pay that taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that now client came back, because he did not qualify for it, and now he's getting audited, basically.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
some
And
nefarious...
it's like opening up a can of worms, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some definitely nefarious companies that were doing that. I heard of one company, I was talking to this lady, and she said she was doing it, and she did 200 of them. And I was like, well, how did you do it? And she was like, oh, I just sent I just sent the people's name over to this lady, and this lady charged like $500 up front, and I don't even think she got the 1090, what was it? The,
Quarterly forms, 941s. and
yeah,
all
the
that,
nine. She didn't even get the 941s.
Yeah.
And she just filled everything out for the client and just sent it in. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds right. You know?
Because this one client of mine who owes 90-some thousand, I provide them payroll service. He never asked me for the quarterly reports. I said, there's no way you can file employee retention credit without the quarterly reports.
Right.
You never asked me for it. Where
Right.
did you get the report? He says, I don't know. He got it from the government. I said, no, he did not get it from the government.
Right.
Yeah, so they just made up the numbers, basically. And that company is not there anymore.
That's wild. So he's got to deal with it.
So there are a couple of companies like that really in trouble right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Where do you want to take the business? Or take this business that you've been here for 25 years? Do you want to continue to grow it? What's the goal?
Yes,
Do you have
I'm planning to grow the business. looking for clients. I'm looking for employees.
Yeah.
And just there's no retirement in near future. At least not next 10 years.
Right.
That I'm planning to retire, and just going to get going on it. Just keep going on it.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. Not within the next 10 years, I'm looking to retire. There are, as a business owner, it's like, it's fun.
Yep.
Right?
Can't complain. Yes.
It's an exciting. There's this. I want to do this, or I want to do that, or this excitement of what else can we accomplish? Who else can we help? And that's how I feel. Like my wife says, "You're never going to retire, are you?" I'm like, "Why?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?"
There you
know,
go.
I do what I like every day.
There you go.
You know, because I'm going and doing this. You know, and maybe one day I'll slow down, but I just, or might take a day off, maybe take 2 days off during the week, right? But I will always be
Right.
trying to make something happen. And I think as business owners, that's just our mindset.
Right.
Like if we were, I'd be bored.
Yeah.
Sit at home,
Yeah.
go fishing. I go
Yeah.
fishing 3 days, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, all right, I got to do something else.
That's it. There's so many days you can travel, and so many days you can play golf and go fishing. And
Right.
After a while, it gets old.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, we got to get back to work here.
Right.
You know, idle hands. It's not good. So I'm excited to see your growth with the business, and continue with your success that you've already had so far, guys. If you are interested in accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, you go to the website. They have a lot of different services on there that they provide. Obviously, you know, listening today with a conversation with Debbie, she absolutely knows what's going on, and it's nice to hear when you have questions. I was talking to her earlier. When you have questions, she's the one that picks up the phone. She's the one there that's helped you. Like we were talking, and you said you like that client connection. You like the communication between you and the client. You want to be when you call your business, you pick up. Your employees are doing the back end office work, but you're the one that they're
Yes.
talking to, asking for advice, and having that conversation. I personally like that. When I call somebody, I want them to pick up. I hate calling any other company that has an automated service pickup. I
Right.
just scream operator, and it finally gets to somebody I can talk to. But tell people how they can find you again, where you are located at, and the best way to get in touch with you. Go
Well,
ahead.
my name is Devi Goradia, and Accounting Solution is the company name. We are located off of Rio Road East, 1024 Carrington Place, Suite 100, Charlottesville, 22901. Our phone number is 434-973-5311, and website is www.accsoln.com. Again, website is www.accsoln.com. If you go on our website, you will be easily get the connection with us.
Debbie, thank you so much
But
for
thank
coming
you.
on. I really
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's the goal. I want to talk to business owners, people that have a story, people that have come and done amazing things, right? There are some people that are born in this country and can't get off their butt and do something. And here you are. You come here, don't know a lick of English, learn, grow a business. I find that amazing. And I
Thank
love
you.
to connect to people like yourself that have
Thank
that
you.
grit, desire. And it's just, it's fun, it's energetic, and it's like, cool, man. Like you've done a lot. Like you experienced a lot. You went through a lot of hardship. You went through a
Yes.
lot of like, oh my gosh, am I going to make this happen?
Right.
Like, and to overcome those things that as business owners face, it's just completely, I love it. I just,
Yeah. Thank you
love it.
for inviting, and it's very easy to talk to you.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on. Guys, like I said, we're here talking to business owners throughout Charlottesville and the surrounding areas, getting to know their stories, where they come from, how they do their business, how their business can help you. And I'm just excited to share these stories with you all. And until next week, thank you so much.